Yeah, here we go. You ready? Um, yeah, buddy. So, um, hold on. You know what AWS is? Amazon Web Services. Um, Literally 60% of everything you interact with during your day is hosted on AWS servers. Um, and then on top of AWS servers runs hundreds of different kinds of companies. So I maintain that all of these AI companies will be handled the same way. We're already seeing the proliferation of companies that have built themselves around teaching how to write prompts, or go as far as I'll come to your company, I'll spend a week, and I'll write the prompt for you in order to get the best results, the best continuity as far as the output for AI. Output for AI has been for a while like this. So uh, this was a year ago, and I'm trying to create graphics for this fake event for the Greyhound Monkey Track. Yeah. So the interesting thing is we're literally at a new spot in the generation of AI. So we went from the interesting thing is that I can create a graphic like this without any real without any real no, in other words, what I'm saying is there's no, it's made up out of words. Hey, Glenn, where are you? Where? New Orleans, I've heard of it. Where are you in New York? No, no, no. Where? Huh? Maybe. Interesting. Good to know. Good to know. Unbelievable. Oh, I forgot I wasn't on screen. Hold on. All right. What noise? Oh, it's probably my mouse then. uh, so, Glenn, we've had this talk about these monkeys, right? This is for the Greyhound Monkey Track. I've never had this conversation with you. Yeah, this is so. The objective was to create a. Let's see what AI can do at different phases of AI's generational capabilities, in the pursuit of creating an event, creating graphics for an event, creating the creative for an event. I think the writing part of such a thing has been in the bag for a while. You can bounce ideas back and forth, really prompting yourself to think about things differently. That's been around for a long time now. I'd say 5 or 6 years to some degree. It's just getting better and better at learning the subtleties of your own voice and your own. Hold on. It's getting better and better at learning the subtleties of your voice and the way you talk, so that when it tries to repeat for you, it sounds like you. Therefore, if you're careful, and you can describe, to the AI system, what even better than having it learn that, if you can describe it so that you can be, let's say, a creative director, and focus AI on each individual client. The better you are at being a creative director, the better the setup, the better the output's going to be for each of these individual things. So that's what's been around for at least 5 years, for just talking and getting ideas out on paper. And then so now, about a year ago, I started on this experiment where it's like, how can I want to be. So one of the primary issues for AI is safety and security. So I don't want to use client materials. I don't want to use client logos. So I want to make this all whole cloth. Let's see really what AI can do. It struggled with complex things like logos that would include text. And again, this is a year ago. All of this is much better than it was. Um, but you can kind of see this is probably a month, a few days a month, a few days a week, almost 10 hours a day, messing with how do you get output. And this is just I just clipped a whole sample. There's a lot more. Um, um, this is a combination of, I could, let me see if I can specify that. Um, well, the truth is, all of them are as safe as you can make them. That should be part. I wanted to have a friend of mine who's involved in creating policy at his company. The whole thing he's doing right now is creating AI policy for his company, and his company deals with medical records. So I thought that was kind of a fascinating thing. Like, how do we make sure that we're safe? Because you and I are signing NDAs all over the world, trying to say that we're going to be safe with their data, and yet they expect us to use AI to get things done. I saw AI can do it. AI can do it. Thanks. That's helpful. Um, um, so this is a combination of Midjourney, DALL-E, and Firefly, which is Adobe's proprietary. Um, I'm going to say I can't remember which is which. And at this point, like I said, it's a year ago, and so much has changed in a year. It's not really worth me. Oh, you can't see that. So you're talking about a year before this. So that's Yeah. So that I each time I see in the each time I see in the AI news that a new bridge has been breached, something else has developed that is new, and a year ago it was text. We get text. Text is going to be useful in our output now. I'll believe it when I see it. Here we are. At those must be the end of this month of heavy investment, because at the beginning I got terrible results. So this must be the end of that month. And it really is changing that fast. Like the updates are constant as far as capabilities, etc. Huh. Um, so that was, like I said, that was a year ago, and you can generate content. So what prompted this particular meeting today is I gave the new Claude product, Claude Design, that exact same folder, and I gave it a brief. It's a Word document that I made with AI, naturally, that had things like, oh, it's right here. Can you read this? Let me see. How do I make this bigger? Here, let me see. Do this. One less. How's that? Uh, Maybe a couple less. Hold on. We're almost there. So I gave it that folder and the Word document, and this is the left side is the logic, as it says, you create a design system. Claude says, I'll start by exploring the provided code base to understand the brand. Code base is just, I clicked the button that said, use this folder and go. Um, this is AGMTA, a company with animal themed branding. Greyhounds, monkeys, jockeys. Let me read the pitch deck and exact. Like, it's doing this before it even opened the document. It's like just sort of opening the folder, looking in, and going, "Hey, this is, I think, what I see." It's kind of interesting to see how the programming works. Um, Unfortunately, it thinks it's the. I saw I got it wrong somewhere. Anyway, sorry. I'm sticking ahead of myself live. I have enough information about the brand, the AGMTA. It's the American Greyhound Monkey Track Association, as far as I'm concerned. That's how it's been written. However, they think the CGRS, which is the Computer Graphics Resources Set, which is somehow, I don't know where it picked that up, but it was involved in the production of this somehow. So it picked that up and thinks it's substituting Capuchin for anyway, that's not it. Anyway, welfare focused, because the whole point of the program is that we want to encourage these races. They've proven that through the weight of the monkey as the dogs run, it fixes the hip dysplasia in the dogs. So it's actually a thing that people can bet on and be excited about. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to open 4 across the country, and we're trying to raise money. This is the meeting for the people trying to raise the money. So it now knows that hip safe racing, the AGMTA, it's got it's picked up the colors that I chose with AI a long time ago. It's like I know there's more images in here. I got to figure those out. It's making a mood board. It understands the visual language, and obviously this is you can see this: vintage sporting heritage, elegant racing, equestrian silks, dignified animal portraiture, colors, track green, banana yellow, metallic green. There's a document in there that is actually a color breakdown. I specified fonts, but at some point it says I can't use your fonts because they're proprietary fonts. If you upload the fonts themselves with the license, I'll use them, no problem. Okay, so no problem. Um, it now is like, okay, I'm going to make a design system based on this input. Um, okay, it doesn't matter. Now watch this. It remembers that the theme is that this is for these animals. I don't like the theme. It's kind of terrible. There's a lot you have to know a lot to understand it. but it's talking about the retirement of these animals and supporting them in their retirement. Like it picked this theme. Like so, you saw. I think ideally a creative team in our industry has much more. While you may be impressed at how much I generated as far as trying to make this happen, it's also probably not as much as once you get down to a company gives you a branding manual, your company has a branding system as far as your production company. You as a creative director have a language that you speak. Once you get down to like we're we're talking about a lot of input that's specific to um, the event you're talking about. So I think there would be more specific input, so it would probably get better output. But just the idea that it's now saying if you've got a user interface kit and you've got slides or section headers or the three pillar element, it's bringing in all the colors that we chose, and it's inviting us to interact with it in order to make it better at every step of the way. It's trying to. I mean, that's hilarious. So when you open, what we're talking about is um, this new place that we're in, and Adobe and Claude have told us that we are in a new place, and we are now your designers. We can understand composition and design, and we're now your designer. So I'm saying this is a new place that they're saying they are. So this is my first experience with the new product is called Claude Design, miraculously. Um, and this morning I spent my tokens on dumping that folder that you saw. I dumped that folder in here. Um, and the document, I can put the document in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So let's be clear. It will be useful to you to understand what's in it, but I will also say um, it won't be useful to you as a reference on how to make it because I made it over hours of dialogue with AI. So just be aware that that's what's behind the scenes on that particular document. So hold on one second. Let me projects pitch materials. Can I add that here? Yeah. Okay. That should be now in the chat. Is it there? Okay, so that's the document and the folder I was showing you earlier. Yeah, do we remember the folder? Were you here for the folder? Sweet. Okay, so I opened design. I opened Claude Design. I said I want to open a new design system. I called it AGMTA for the American Greyhound Monkey Track Association design system. I uploaded the folder. The folder included this Word document and all of those images you saw. Um, it also read the titles of the hold on, let me show you that. Let me see. Um, the since they're downloaded from AI. Oh, you can't see them. Since they're downloaded from AI, AI includes part of the prompt in the title, and I left all of those in there. So, for instance, modern, simple, vector graphic, Greyhound, mid-shoulder, it's now using all of that data in this design system. So it's pulling in. So the more you allow the system to be organic and you don't immediately try to make it yours and you allow it to sort of encourage it to be your partner in being creative, um, by saying that its role in your partnership is being a repository that can regurgitate instantaneously. Because how many times have you been on site where somebody's like, I know there's a graphic that has the thingamahoo, you just have to say thingamahoo, and bam, it's not only there, but it'll say, do you, I heard you were talking about rubber thingamahoos. Do you want me to generate a 3D rotating image of a rubber thingamahoo? Yes, yes, I do. Let's not get into anything serious about what I might do with a rubber thingamahoo. Um, so uh, it has now taken all of this data into there, and it's coming back and it's saying the design system begins with this, as we're seeing, these specific elements. I did not create these elements or ask for slides closing CTA. That's what it's decided is a design system, and these are the examples it's going to show us. Um, let's see. Yeah, so it's making all of these choices. So remember what I'm saying about the amount of detail you include. So imagine being able to use this if being satisfied with this document. Remember, of course, if you aren't and you're like, my personal choice is much tighter kerning, bam, you make tighter kerning everywhere. All of a sudden, everything that it gets output by this design system. This is what we are going to be tasked with creating in the very near future. We need to make really beautiful design systems to be utilized in the future. That's what and to say that belittles us or minimizes us, I think is missing the point. Like, this to me feels empowering. Like, all of a sudden, if I get the time and the opportunity to create this like, if the design system is singing and it is talking and it is saying everything me, the creative director, and the client wants it to say, everything we ask it to output should be correct. Everything should be on brand. Everything should be right. And it should give us the opportunity to say, I want to do more. I want to do more. We are getting hours and hours and hours back as an industry. We're getting weeks of pre-production time back via AI. What are we doing to add creativity back? Because what we've seen is, since the beginning of desktop publishing, um, we've seen the commoditization of creativity, right? We went from only certain people can take can paint, to only everybody's can get a camera. We don't need that. Then only certain people can take beautiful photographs. Then all of a sudden we can commoditize digital cameras that can make all sorts of decisions. Everything's commoditized. Every time we think that we've priced ourselves out or we've phased ourselves out, all it does is homogenize everything to a point that allows the people who commit to the art rise above. That's what a production company is supposed to be. A production company is not a gear house, right? A gear house brings the gear. They'll even get people to sit in your seat that know how to use the application you brought the materials for. But that's not what a production company is trying to do. They're trying to take your message and creatively share the message. You show up to a gear house, you better have your message already. So that's what we're talking about, right? And that is becoming more and more clear as the differentiating element. What are the creative directors in our industry doing with AI? Now that here, this is one of the other things I want to show. Stand by. Nope, not that one. How about this one? This one. We haven't even got. It's 1:30, so we'll go on. So, like I said, Claude and Adobe released stuff recently, so I'm intended to do both. But hold on. Oh yeah. So here's what I'm saying. We as production company people should be doing. This person created a wall calculator in Claude by talking to Claude and saying, these are the cameras I want to put in the database. These are the lenses. He gave it all the details for the cameras and the lenses, and he has now set up a way to determine if you're going to get a moire pattern behind your speaker as you shoot against an LED wall. Like, this is a use of AI in our industry. This is something interesting and useful in our industry. This is something, if we use this kind of thinking and apply our creativity, is something we can make useful things for clients in a time frame that was never thought possible. We can think about the campaign that we used to have to wait to generate materials for as a much shorter timeline and generate more creativity if we take more time up front to build these out. Production companies should be building these. Production companies should be spending time right now building design systems that they adhere to, that they create. Because what we need to do, here's the secret. Here's where I'm bitching. We are building ways to make clients send their shit earlier. That's the trick. That's our task. Because when we have their data earlier, we can make better, more beautiful things with their stuff. There is nothing I'm seeing on the horizon more than shorter and shorter production timelines, shorter and shorter pre-production timelines. Nothing is going in the opposite direction there. So what do we do to make this better? How do we get them? So I was just on a conference call. Hold on, let me close some of this so I can see who I'm talking to. Just me, huh? Me and you, Glenn. I was just on a conference call with a producer talking about their LED wall. And it was literally their biggest concern was this LED wall was going to put content. It's 10 feet tall, 60 feet wide. And it was going to put content behind you no matter where you shot from. It was going to put distracting content behind them. I was asked to sit in on a creative meeting in order to figure out how we could incorporate AI. The mentality was, we're going to use AI to make fancy maps, animated cool things. And I said, I know the team you've got. They can make animated fancy things already. I don't understand the selling point there. I said, you build a lower section, and that lower section is comprised of very soft contrast, messages from the content as it gets delivered. So let's say it's 60 feet wide, right? And we coach them that to walk over here. On this side, on the background, highlighted in a pattern that is not distracting, all of a sudden something begins to glow and I have context for something that's being said. 5 feet, that's only the lower 5 feet of the screen. The upper 5 feet is traditional content. It's a bullet point thing here and a graph in the middle and a subhead on the right side. But in the bottom, if I have your content early enough, we can make really interesting, ornate, kind of cool, beautiful to look at, nothing but eye candy, sticky eye candy to keep my audience busy. That is just subtle in the background. But if you give me enough time, we can create some crazy shit. And it can be stuff that is incorporating your content immediately. Like, we want it to have these 4 phrases and it's going to take 14 seconds. Like, if you give us, so the other opportunity is to create input systems like that where I'm not picking cameras and lenses. I'm forcing my speakers on a timeline. Everybody sees the timeline. I'm forcing my speakers to submit my outline. I'm allowing them to see the AI process their outline and give them a first draft. Like, incorporate them in this process back and forth, get them in line in that process so much earlier, because we know that they're standing on stage and that's the first time they looked. We know it. That's the first time they looked. We know that that's the case. But if the production companies are if the production companies spent the time to build a product around AI, that's a whole nother story. You gotta go. I appreciate you stopping in, man. It's not only possible, it's easy. Yeah. Sure, yes. Right. They stroke. They all stroke, for sure. But they never would have aimed that high without the AI. They never, like, that's that's the pitch, is we're going to use AI. The 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 future of film is going to have big budget movies with no humans in them that everybody loves and spends a lot of money on them. And the future of film is also going to have very small independent films that get broadcast on giant sphere screens that are shot by human beings with the love and care of human technicians, and that will also be a market. That's how this works. And if we pretend that it's not going to be that, we're shooting ourselves in the foot and not searching for the opportunities. That's what we should be doing, searching for the opportunities. And if your position is old school or nothing, fuck yeah. Now go make some old school shit. Find some old school people, use some old school gear, make some old school shit, and I will use some new school thinking and transmit it to some further distances and bigger audiences. Thanks for hanging out, man. Good to see you. Safe travels. Bye. All right, I'm going to pick it up here anyway. Anybody still here? No, just me. I'm the only one. All right, so I'll just talk to myself. Anyway, so this is pretty darn cool, right? I got welfare as a kid, like different kinds of pull quotes. I got a primary palette. Look at this. I got some, it shows some spacing and elevation choices. Like, is this how, when you want it to look like this, is that how you want it to look? You want the shadow bigger so it seems like it's further off? We'll talk about it. Let's make it need some work. I got buttons, got form fields. It's choosing my fonts, all the elements around it. It's chosen web page concept. I don't know what this is. This is awesome. I don't know what it is. Ape Racing Welfare AGMTA established 2025. It looks a lot like, I don't know. I'm okay with this. Capuchin is never part of the thing. It misunderstood something, but that's fine. Anyway, I got image retracts. It chose the iconography font, which it will use as it deems fit moving forward. I mean, kind of cool, right? And all of that stuff was built into this. So it gives me a whole website. I like the names it gave them. Mateo, Harlan, Odette. UFO. All right. Here's what I want to do. I want to now go back in here and I want to do this. New project. Project name. Rider cards. Animal cards. Using this system. Create. Oh, already in there. Touch code base, animal cards, drag figure file. Okay, so it's now got my code base, and I want to tell it I want to make shareable cards with riders and dogs to give to attendees at a meeting. Could have name on front, hero image of dog or rider. For portrait ratio will be printed and mailed as a teaser. Who knows? I don't know what that's going to do. What's going to do? Can you see that? What is rubber wooden cutting board with lemon and salt to deodorize it completely? How's that useful info? I love it. Oh, you're just going to give me tips and stuff. My creations will appear here. Love won't hurt anymore. Promises something for everyone. Hmm. I need a new photo style to unify the images. This might be boring. This is why people's time gets taken up. Time gets taken up. I'm trying to do a thing and the time gets taken up. I don't want to do it, but if I won't run it again, it's going to take time again. Oh!